Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. Yes, I still have that silly dressing screen, or whatever you want to call it, leaning up against my refrigerator. It's just one of those items that somehow needs to find a new home, not my home, and it just gets moved around. Haven't used it in maybe 10 years, but I've been staring at it for probably that long. This is a Sunday, and I think I'm going to be doing something different on Sundays, hopefully from now on. I am going to be cooking and freezing servings of food so that during the week my mother can have a nice variety without me having to do any cooking. So far, I have cooked some ham and some spaghetti that will be frozen. Actually, I'm not even going to bother to tell you because I want to start a new series called See What I Froze Today. And I will show you guys what I prepared and what I froze, and then if there's anything in that mix that you'd like to see me cook, then you can let me know, and that will give me ideas for concoction videos. I will have that video uploaded either right before or right after this one. I don't know what will be done first. And one of the things I will be cooking today for freezing is split pea soup from scratch. I have asked you guys in the past if you wanted to see me make pea soup, and you guys said yes. So I am going to make that, and yes, I freeze soup. I even freeze it in bags, so there's not even any dirty dishes when the soup thaws. Well, obviously the dish my mother will eat it out of will get dirty, but I don't even want containers in the freezer. So I'll be showing you all that stuff in the other video about the freezing. Lots of ways to make split pea soup. You can make it to your liking. Very easy to make. And you know me, I don't follow instructions. I don't even know if I've read any instructions on the back of a bag of pea soup since maybe I was a teenager and wanted to just get an idea what I was supposed to do with this green loveliness. But let's look at the instructions for the heck of it. Dry peas may be soaked to reduce cooking time. I do not do that. If soaking is desired, use one of these methods, and then they go ahead and tell you the methods. Overnight or quick soak. 2 methods. My method is don't soak. And then, oh, my glasses aren't strong enough. Now it says, dry beans and peas are natural foods and should be cleaned like any fresh vegetable. Sort any unwanted material and rinse well. They do sometimes have a little pebble in there or a different kind of a bean. I found like a navy bean before or a pinto bean. They just wanted to get in on the soup. For areas of the country with hard water, please add 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda per pound of peas, or use bottled water for cooking, as hard water may lengthen the cooking time. See, stuff like that scares people. They'll be like, I don't know if I have hard water, so I can't make this because I don't know. Just do what I do. It'll come out fine. Where the heck are the instructions? Do they have any, or do they just say, watch Darlene's video? I mean, seriously. I don't see any instructions. I seriously do not see any instructions on how to cook the peas. I mean, it says basic instructions, and it just says they may be soaked. So let's just go through the soaking. Overnight soak. Place peas in large deep pot. Add enough water to cover peas by 2 inches. Get a ruler, all right? Or it's not gonna work if it's 2 1/4. Could have 2 inches of water. Let's soak overnight, or at least 6 to 8 hours. Not 5 1/2, not 8 1/2, 6 to 8. And that's all it says. Quick soak. Place peas in a large deep pot. Add enough water to cover peas by 2 inches. They like the 2 inches. Bring to a boil. Boil 2 minutes. Remove from heat. Cover and let stand 1 hour. Unless I am way blinder than I thought, I see no instructions on how to make this split pea soup. So we're just going to do it my way. Anyway, maybe that's why I don't look at instructions. Maybe they don't provide any. Again, I am not soaking. Let me tell you really quick how I do this so you have an idea. I just put this in water. I don't measure the water. I have a pot, I put water, I put peas. I do sort them a little bit because in case there's a rock, rocks are not nice to teeth. If you want me to measure the water I put, I will. I will do that this time. I add a little bit of chicken bouillon in the water to let it cook, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then I just let these babies simmer until they are done, and I will show you along the way the stages of what they look like from bagged to done. I like to add bacon and onions, but I don't want to cook my bacon in with the peas because I don't want all that fat, you know, the bacon ends that I get. So when these are close to being done, I cook bacon and some onions in a separate pan. I just boil them in water, drain that, rinse that, then I add it to the soup. I don't want my onions so cooked that they disappear. If you put onions at the beginning of this process, you're not going to see an onion, and I like to see my onions. They're so pleasing to look at. I also like to add some frozen vegetables. Right now my favorite is frozen peas and carrots because this turns to mush, and then I love the little pop of the frozen peas in the pea soup. But you can add anything you want. Some people like to even add fine egg noodles. You can add ham. You can cook this with a ham bone. I mean, you can do anything you want. My way is easy, simple, delish, so I'm glad you're going to watch. So let's get started. This is the pot I'm using. I don't know how many quarts pot that is. I added about as much water as I normally add, and then I measured it, and it's about 7 cups that I put in there, so almost 2 quarts of water. And I rinsed the peas. I don't see any little pebbles in there. And now I'm just going to add that to the water, putting the water on high. I add it right away. Whoa, see, I already made a mess. Having a hard time because I only have one hand. So I'm just going to let this start to boil and I'll show you. This is fixin' a boil, as Skylar would say. Fixin', I like that word. So I am going to add, let's see if I can do this with the correct hand here. Just gonna add some chicken bouillon, not too much, like that. And just a pinch of salt. This kind that we get is not really salty, this Orrington Farms chicken broth base and seasoning. And then I like to add a little bit of pepper. Now I'm going to just stir this, and once it's boiling like this, I'm going to turn that down to just simmer. Let's go down to 4, and then we'll come back and check. All right, this is a nice little simmer, and maybe like every 10-15 minutes, or every time I walk by, just going to give it a little stir. You can see we still have peas. We are going to simmer this until there's no longer peas, but that it's all just like one big, almost like puree. Sometimes I like to leave a few peas, but I'll just keep showing you. Now I am going to put a cover. I have a cover here that has holes on it, and I'm going to let it simmer with that cover. You don't want to let it boil over. If you don't have holes, you can always just put your cover like that. I'm going to just keep an eye on it, and or an ear on it, and you know, most likely I'll let it boil over anyway because I'm good at doing that. And I'm just going to check that again in about 5 minutes and see if it's boiling too much or not with the cover, and then I will adjust the heat if needed. Just cooks faster with the cover on. I will show you every step of the way. Okay, I see that with the cover, that's boiling, you know, at a decent boil. I'm going to turn it down to number 3 and cover again. And I never pay attention as to how long it takes me to cook this, so now I have made a mental note, and I will say it here in case I forget. I started about 3 o'clock, so we will see how long it takes. So it's been about another 10 minutes, and this is still boiling pretty hard. I think I'll turn it down to 2, and we will check again. It's been another 10 minutes. We're in about 30 minutes so far, and you can see this is starting to thicken up. The peas are starting to fall apart, and this is after only about a half hour. As it gets thicker like that, I want to let it not simmer so hard because I don't want it to, you know, catch on the bottom and burn or anything. So I'm going to give that a good stir. I'm going to put that now on number 1. Oh, you can see me. Hi. And then I am covering this again, and I will come and check again in about maybe 10 more minutes. We have what is turning out to be quite thick pea soup. So what I'm going to do is I am turning it down to low now. Ooh, steaming up. And then I'm actually going to boil some water to add some water here. I like to boil it just so it doesn't stop the simmer. So I have some water boiling. As you can see, I'm not measuring. It's probably like maybe a cup and a half, 2 cups. And that's going to be all the water that I need to add. We're like really almost done because this is turning into quite thick mush, which is what we want. So I'm going to stir this one more time. I'm leaving it on low, and it's time to get my bacon and onions ready. If you've ever watched any of my tag along with me to Roger's videos, you already know that I buy bacon ends there. There's pieces of meat, pieces of fat, and I am just going to cut some of this up and boil it in water. It gets rid of the fat, takes out a lot of salt, and I actually just cut it with scissors. I don't have my tripod handy to hold this camera for me while I do that, but seriously, I mean, I just take scissors and I cut. These are not the best scissors. Just what I had available. And yes, I wash my scissors, don't worry. I'm trying to show you, like, just little bite-sized pieces, like that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a bunch of that, and then I'll show you. This is what I cut up for my soup. This was a good batch of bacon ends, a lot of meaty pieces. Now, we still like the fat. I just boil it to get rid of, you know, a lot of the fattiness. I don't want all that fat. I don't know how to explain it. The greasy part that gets hard, you know. I mean, I drain all that away, but we still add the fat into the soup. I don't know how much this is, maybe like a cup, cup and a half. You can use regular bacon if you want, or you can cut up pieces of ham, whatever you want. All right, so I have some water boiling, and I'm just going to add this in the water, but I'm putting it down for a minute. And you can see, and I'll just let that come back to a boil, and while I'm waiting, I'm going to cut up an onion. I'm going to cut up a small sweet onion. This happens to be a sweet onion. And I am going to be adding that to this boiling water. I'm going to leave it boiling because the onion will cut the heat. So I'm going to just hurry up and chop it up. Okay, I added that whole onion. I'm just going to let this boil again. I like fairly big pieces of onion, and I like to be able to see the onion in my soup. I just like to bite on the onions. You do not have to add onions. You don't have to even add ham or pork or bacon or anything. You can have just the soup. I just drained and rinsed this, and you can see that I still have big pieces of onion, which I like. They will continue to cook in the soup. I'm going to just add this to the soup now. And I'm also going to add about a cup of frozen peas and carrots. Again, this is optional, and I don't usually measure, but, ooh, it's all stuck in there. Let's get that out. So let's see what we have here. Looky yummies. Whoops, I made a mess. I'm very good at messes. And now I am just going to turn the burner off. I'm going to put the cover on and just let it sit there till it's cold. And then I will put it away. Let's go and talk at the computer for a little bit. Let's chat again for a minute. I am hot. Hot alert! I think it's hot for November. I have fans blowing on me. And I would have opened a window, but it was locked and didn't feel like unlocking it. I wanted to tell you that the last time I made pea soup, about a couple of weeks ago, I took pictures of it the next day after it was chilled. I don't want to take the time to wait until tomorrow for this batch to chill and show you what it looks like after. So I'm going to show you that footage, but I am going to explain that the one you're about to see is a little looser than I normally make it. I must have added more water. Doesn't matter. Still delish. I just don't have to add as much liquid when I heat it up. In fact, if you like a chunky soup, you would want to heat it up just as you see it. But the way I normally make it, the next day after it sits, I mean, it is like the condensed soup that you get out of a can of Campbell's. You know, the kind that you have to just, you know, spoon it out. And you can, like, cut it with a knife, you know. I don't know if you've ever purchased condensed pea soup, Campbell's brand at least, or store brand. I mean, you can cut the cover off and dump the can like this and nothing comes out. You have to, like, force that big chunk of green food inside to exit the can. So that's how mine normally comes out. When it comes out like that, it's just like condensed soup. You add some water, equal amounts of water, or not as much water if you want it still fairly thick. Some people add a little bit of milk or cream. You can add a little piece of butter to make it that much richer. And so that one pot that I made, it goes a long way. The peas are only like 89 cents a bag, or maybe 99 cents a bag. You can make a lot of soup out of a bag of peas and water, and a little bit of chicken broth if that's the route you want to go, and because it makes a condensed soup that you are going to add liquid to. But anyway, let me stop right now and just show you the soup I made a couple weeks ago. Instead of waiting for my soup to condense, I am showing you a previous batch that I made. You can see that it's quite thick, and when you warm it up, let me see here. You can add some water or some milk even, or you can just warm it like this and it will thin out a little bit. So it's like a nice, delicious, chunky pea soup. Okay, let's taste this, shall we? I added a little bit more pepper on mine because I like it peppery. Just eaten out of the cup. I like to eat out of a measuring cup like that. Yum yummies. Oh, yummy. Now you can go ahead and serve it, you know, as soon as it's done, like I showed you. But tomorrow, it will be thick and even better. I just think it's better the next day. And like I said, you can freeze it. And I will be showing you what I froze this weekend for my mother. You can also put some diced potato in there.
Oh my goodness, this is so good.
I don't know if all countries have dried split peas available. I'm sure not. I'm always fascinated to know what different countries have or don't have, so please leave a comment down below and let me know if you have split peas like that in a bag and how much they would cost. In your money or my money, doesn't matter. I can look it up if I don't understand your currency. Please do look for the video either before this one or after this one. Probably after, because this one's pretty much almost ready to go. See what stuff I froze my mother. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with more soon. Bye!